Hello, everybody. It's Janine. Hey, I haven't been live in quite some time, and check out my shirt. I love New York. So, oh, I'm jamming. Let's jam some more. Hold on. Woo, 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 woo. These beats are really good. These are beats from the software for Apple devices called GarageBand. And I just love these beats, the Latino beats. Let's listen to one more. Hey, 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 hey. Let me get up and dance. Wait a minute. I'm gonna twerk. Wait a minute. Oh, I won't fall. I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna fall. Okay. So I'm on here by myself, but that is okay. I've been on here long before. So tonight, I'm going to talk about my trip to upstate New York. Um, we went to upstate New York 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And we went to Rochester, New York. We stayed in Rochester uh, for 3 days, like Tuesday through Thursday. And then that Friday, we drove further up into this little bitty town called Cleveland, New York. And everybody's like Cleveland, Ohio, but this was a small town called Cleveland, New York. But we started off in Rochester, and we stayed in this beautiful lake house. You guys can see it on my videos. I did little shorts from different places we were staying. So we stayed in this beautiful lake house on Lake Ontario in this area called Seabreeze. And it was really wonderful, just scenic, ducks everywhere, all kinds of waterfowl. We had like a deck. The house was a 3 bedroom, 2 bath with a wash and dryer, and it was really lovely. And while in Rochester, we went out to eat to this pizza place, and the pizza place served seafood, and the seafood was fresh. It was delicious. And we also went out to eat at another place called Black and Blue Restaurant, and that food was excellent there. And we went to the Eastman Kodak Museum. And Eastman Kodak, if you don't know, he's a person that invented Kodak. And we went to his house. And while I was in his house, I felt really sad. I felt that Eastman, his name is Eastman, but I felt like, maybe he was lonely living at a house because it was a really big house. And the only person that lived with him there was his mother, and she died. And I just had this overwhelming overwhelming feeling of sadness the whole time I was in the house. Come to find out that he had committed suicide because he was really ill, and he knew that he was going down, and he didn't want to lose his capacity to think because the man was a genius. So he didn't want to lose his capacity to think. And so he ended up killing himself. And what I really want to say about that is I'm not like some magical person or whatever, but the whole time I was in Rochester, New York, I just felt, I think because I also was not distracted by social media, but I could just feel a lot of different things there. Like I felt connected to the black people, or back then they weren't even known as black. Black people were known as colored. I'm not even sure they wouldn't called colored back then. But the Underground Railroad was all up in upstate New York. It was in Rochester, Syracuse, and on and so on. Frederick Douglass lived in Rochester, New York, and he was one of the people for the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was not really a railroad underground. It was a network that helped slaves escape from the South and come up north. And eventually they had to escape all the way up into Canada because there was a law saying that even though you were in New York, you were not considered free. Even though you were up north, you were not considered free. And so the slavers can hire somebody to can come recapture you and take you back down south. And so uh, the black people eventually a lot of them ended up in Canada. But the whole time I was there, I was just feeling, I was feeling the souls of these black folks that came before me. I was feeling I was feeling that they had gone through a lot of pain, and they experienced a lot of pain, and also I felt like they also not just experienced pain, but they were had some they were proud people, and also that they had to overcome a lot of oppression, and it just it just resonated. Their spirits resonated uh, with me. I could just totally feel these black people that had from way back in the past, from the before the Civil War. I could just feel them. It's a weird feeling. It's hard to describe, but I felt their souls the whole time I was there. It's the same feeling that I felt when we went to the Jefferson Plantation, Monticello, and my husband and I had gone to Monticello when Barack Obama was being sworn in the first time, and we were at Monticello, standing in this field, and the whole time we were standing in this field, I was like, something happened in this field. I can't describe it, but and it was real quiet. It was real quiet in that field. And I looked up and I saw the tree, and I saw like wind blowing it almost in slow motion through the trees. And I was standing there. It was real peaceful and quiet. Hello, whoever just came into the chat. Hi, I'm glad you came in. I don't know who it is, but I'm glad you came in. But I'm just talking about how I felt when I was in Rochester, New York, and Monticello. So anyway, so when I was at Monticello, we were standing in the field, and I knew something had gone on in that area, and it was real quiet and still. And I was just like, hmm, something sad happened here, but I didn't know what. And it was a beautiful day, clear skies, beautiful. So my husband and I walked out of the field. Come to find out, that was an unmarked slave slave cemetery, because it was just covered over with grass. There was no headstones. We were standing on the burial grounds of slaves. That being said, I had a wonderful time in upstate New York. It was beautiful. The leaves were changing colors. They were red, orange, yellow. We also went to the American side of the Niagara Falls. And I like the Canadian side of Niagara Falls better than the American side. It was just prettier on the Canadian side, and you can see more of the falls on the Canadian side, Niagara Falls. And it's just a wonderful, beautiful area, upstate New York. Syracuse, I love Syracuse. Went to Syracuse. Just a beautiful area. Hope to go back in the springtime when it's warmer, and we can also go to the Finger Lakes up there. So, anyways, I'm gonna get off because nobody really even came on, but that's okay. I hope you watch it in the reruns. I hope you watch it later. But yeah, wonderful trip. I highly recommend you going to upstate New York. A lot of people just go to New York City and think that's all New York, but there's much more than just New York City and Manhattan and all the seven boroughs there. Go to upstate New York, get out in nature, get away from social media and other distractions, and just take in the beauty. Take in the peace and the calm of upstate New York. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get off. Peace. And I hope you're having a wonderful time wherever you are. Love you.